Okay, good afternoon and welcome you all in your second semester. Uh, this is your History of English Literature course, and this is lecture 1, part 1. So before going ahead, I would like to share the outcomes that the students after attending this lecture would be able to have. So the first outcome is students will be able to have in-depth knowledge of Romantic age. The second outcome, they would be able to relate their knowledge to the other well-known ages in literature. Next, they would be able to discuss on this topic to others in an effective way. So these are the outcomes of this lecture. The assignment and practice that the students are going to get after attending this lecture is that they would discuss in details the major characteristics of Romantic age. Now we are going to start our lecture. So first we are going to discuss the introduction to Romanticism or Romantic age, and after that we are going to discuss the other important aspect, that is characteristics of Romantic age. Romanticism is a state of being romantic or affectionate in a sentimental way. It's an 18th century movement in arts and literature that emphasized nature, imagination, emotion, and the individual. So that is a very short introduction to Romanticism. Before going ahead, I would like to share a little background of this Romanticism. That before Romantic movement, people used to believe in traditional views. They used to believe in reason, and there was no any space for the emotions. People they didn't believe in emotions, rather preferred reason over this. So Romanticism, if we just have a little more view of that, Romanticism was an artistic and literary movement that came to England in the late 18th and early 19th centuries and had a profound impact on English literature. Truly speaking, this Romanticism or this Romantic period in the whole English literature is considered the most fertile age because it produced so much literature, so many books were written, so much work was done by the romantics. So even they may be well compared to the Renaissance artists. They were no less than those writers. So it had a profound impact on English literature. English Romantic literature is characterized by a love of nature, distrust of reason, and rejection of traditional authority. So whatever Romantics wrote, the reader can find this very strong elements in the literature of Romantics. Love of nature. The Romantics have a very deep love with the nature. Then distrust of reason. They believed in emotions and they distrust reasons as their forefathers used to believe. And rejection of traditional authority. So these things were opposed during the Romantic age. Romanticism, also known as the Romantic era, was an artistic, literary, musical, and intellectual movement that originated in Europe towards the end of 18th century and in most areas was at its peak in the approximate period from 1800 to 1890. I mean, this particular era, these 90 years were the most fertile period for the Romantics, because a lot of literature was produced during these 90 years in most of the areas of Europe. Now, after discussing Romanticism and just discussing little its background, that why Romanticism came into being, now we are going to discuss the characteristics of Romantic age and Romantic literature. So the first important characteristic of Romantic age is individuality. When we talk about individuality, it means that we believe in one individual as a unique phenomena of nature, that every person is unique in his disposition and he must be given proper respect. Then democracy, as opposed to dictatorship, romantics believed that every individual must be given proper opportunity to grow in society. He must be given an opportunity to choose his political leaders and also the right to vote. Then personal freedom was given importance during the Romantic age. The second important characteristic of this particular period was spiritual or supernatural elements in poems or in literature. So during this period, the Romantics used supernatural elements in their poetry or in their prose or in their, whatever they wrote. Now here I will quote the examples of Tartary, Kublai Khan, When I Have Fears. These three poems are well known for their supernatural elements. The next important characteristic of Romanticism is nature as a teacher. So Romantics believed that if we just believe in nature, if we take keen interest in nature, we learn so much knowledge from nature. Even the Wordsworth, one of the greatest romantics, he just believed that nature was just like his mother. He believed that nature is just like my mother. I learned so much from nature. The other important characteristic of this very fertile period was interest in past history or ancient Greek and Roman elements. So the poets of Romantic period, they took keen interest in the old literature, ancient or Roman literature. They not only read that literature but also quoted and imitated the literary figures of that particular era, that Greek or Roman era. The next important characteristic of this Romantic period was celebration of the simple life. Romantics not only themselves believed in simple life but also preached simple life in their poetry or in their prose, whatever they wrote. So simple life became an important element, an important subject matter of the literature during this Romantic period. There are some other characteristics as well. Surely we are going to discuss them after this short break. So just in part second, you will be knowing the other important characteristics as well, the remaining characteristics. Till that, Allah Hafiz.